general one, then the point of view and the needs of a donor of Swiss Development Corporation, then a few remarks as feedback to the platform, and then a very few suggestions. So point one, general remark, the relevance of the issue you are dealing with here, I think I don't have to underline. I would just like to say, we were now talking about competition. I think, of course, competition is good, but what we face as a problem is that we very often don't have the reliable data, and this hampers very much the involvement of donors in several fields, and we need really much more data and accessible data. So this, with your initiative, of course, you hit the nail on the top, and it's really absolutely relevant. Now, point of view, second point, point of view of Swiss Development Corporation. We have a strategy, so we work with a strategy. Then, at the end of the strategy, or we work in 4 domains, we have at the end of the strategy a result frame. On the result frame, on one side, we plot the targets we want to achieve as SDC, and we, on the right side, we have plotted the targets of the government. And our aim, of course, is then to support the government to achieve their targets as much as possible. And there we have then indicators. I mean, that's a 4-year project. Projects are between 1 and 15 million. So we have to be sure that we are on the right track through indicators. So we have a whole set of indicators. And there we need indicators on our side, but we need then also indicators on the government side in order to be accurate. And what we have done also is, sometimes to find indicator is a bit difficult. So what we have put also is what we call fields of observation. I just mentioned now one, a field of observation in democratic governance. Here, as a field of observation, we have satisfaction of citizens, including minorities, with municipal services in supported municipalities is increasing due to better quality and inclusive coverage. Here we didn't give a figure because we think it's difficult to have a figure, but we will describe it. So this we call field of observation. So that's, but where we have figures, there of course we use the figures, and in this regard, I mean, your initiative is absolutely very, very important. Third point, feedback on the indicators. I have asked all my colleagues and also partners the following question. I have sent them the link, and I asked them, what do you think of the platform? Is it easy to use? Is it useful for you? Then, are you going to use the platform? Why and why not? And suggestions. Now, just a few feedback on that. So, everybody says the platform is useful, and but when it comes then to are you going to use it, then it is yes, but, and suggestions. There are a few. I think, I mean, to have it relevant and that people say it is useful. That's one thing, but that they really going to use, that's another point. So a few points on that. It is not always easy to understand a single indicator. Then, despite the given reference and source, it is not easy to draw conclusion on trends and main developments. There also it has been mentioned targets. I think if you would indicate targets in certain instances, that would be very useful. In many cases, it is too numeric and especially related to governance. The numbers don't reveal much on quality of trends. Then the platform lacks an interpretation and explanation. So also on the indicators, explanation would be useful. Then the source. Another point is, I mean, when you click on it, then you find the source. But I mean, it's for a quick overview, it would be good if you would have the source already on the page and then further sources when you click on it. That would make it more user-friendly. But some of my colleagues also have put question marks on the reliability of sources. You have newspaper articles and you have others. I think you have different quality of sources. Then the rhythm of collection. How often are you going to collect it? Once a year or twice a year? For us, ideally, it would be if you do it in June and October, or in May, June, and in October. That would for me as a donor, enhance the usability. And then we get most of the data otherwise from the EU report. EU report, but then also UNDP reports and the reports which you already mentioned. Then that's a general remark. I had a little bit, or I had the impression that it's too specific for an ambassador to use it, and also for me as a head of the office, it's probably too specific, and it is not specific enough for project managers and for the projects. And if you're going to include all the parameters Minister Stavilecci just mentioned before, then you will have another challenge. So I think that you put in all the parameters. For example, Minister Stavilecci was mentioning, I think that's very good, but then you would have to have several layers. And also another point Mr. Stavilecci made that I can only underline accurately wrong and approximately true. That's very, very important, and I think here that's a very fine balance. Do you give me another few minutes? Do you give me another few minutes? Good. On just a few feedbacks, for example, on health. There it was said the platform is useful. It provides a good snapshot and quick information related to a comprehensive range of indicators. It is easy to use and the selection of indicators is wide-ranging and interesting. Considering the platform is based on secondary research, namely on a screening of existing reports, perception reviews, newspaper articles, the information provided in the platform is merely an overview of information circulating in a given subject. So, in health, for example, of course, we will continue to gather our own data and indicators. Then, for example, in labor market, here I just take out a few. I can give you then in written a more detailed feedback. But for example, in labor market, some of the unemployment indicators are taken from the latest labor force survey of 2012, while some others are taken from the Ministry of Labour report on unemployment trends. This 2011. So you show some positive trends in the labor market. So the question is, where does it come from? Is it only because of the usage of different sources, or is there really something else behind? And here, I mean, you're just collecting data, but then of course these questions come up. Or on women in business, probably here a very similar one. There you get also positive trends, I think. You get a slightly positive trend, but it's not clear why you get a positive trend. According to my colleague in this field, there were really not many positive trends to be seen, and it is probably rather a question of methodology and not a change in real terms. So I think, that the question there would be to how to interpret this figure. Point 4, my final remarks. I think to increase the usefulness of your platform to the agency and to make sure that people really use it.